Greetings, Gambia. My name is Sukai, and you are welcome to iAfrica TV. Today, we're going to talk about the um, 36, now 38 Gambian migrant women that were stranded in Lebanon, and the government and a human rights activist by the name Miss Jallow has been working to make sure that these ladies are repatriated back home to the Gambia. So just a backstory of what has been happening in Lebanon. Thousands of women who went to Lebanon in the hopes of earning a better living and send money back home to their families are scrambling to return home to their countries. Workers who lack immigration papers, including travel documents, are also said to be facing penalty charges for breaking terms of their visas and risk prison time. Some of these women have court cases levied on them by their employers for violating employment contracts. The devastating economic crisis that hit Lebanon last October resulted to a lot of migrant workers losing their jobs, leaving them jobless, penniless, paperless, and now countries they are required to pay several hundreds of dollars to be reunited with their families. These women include 36, now 38 Gambian women. Today in the studios on iAfrica TV, I have Miss Jallow, a Swedish Gambian lawyer, an author of Black Vogue, and a human rights activist through her NGO, Action for Humanity. Miss Jallow has been working with these women in ensuring that their safe return back to the Gambia. Welcome to What I Africa Love It.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for accepting to do this interview, and I love that dress. It's so the color is just perfect for the weather.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So, Ms. Jallow, tell us about your job because through based on your website and Wikipedia, I found you on Wiki. You are an award-winning human rights advocate and worked on the Libya initiative as well. So this is not the first time you are helping people get reunited with their families.
No, this is not the first time. And I must say the Libya initiative was far more dangerous and thus has a lot of information that is covered in secrecy as well, just for the protection of those of us that worked on that project, as well as the people that we helped, because we had to go over and above the European Union and the UN in that instance. So it's not my first ride on this rodeo, but I think with the Lebanon initiative, I proved that you can be in your own home in Sweden and still work with government officials on the ground, as well as organizations like This is Lebanon to facilitate the work. So it's project managed from Sweden, but we have teams in Gambia as well as in Lebanon who are working on behalf of Action for Humanity. So that is why I started the NGO, to be able to continue doing that work, whether it's public or it's private.
Nice. So before we delve into the conversation, which is regarding the women that were stranded in Lebanon, tell us what the inspiration from a real estate lawyer to an activist. What was your inspiration in wanting to do this kind of work?
To be honest, I was working a corporate job, earning very high amounts of money every month. And I realized there was something that was also missing in my life, and that was the humanitarian aspect. So when Libya came up as a problem, and we were seeing the footage and we were seeing the videos, paired together with the facts of what we have with Gambian people in Libya, I just decided, if I'm going to wait for somebody to do this, why not be the one to start a demonstration, to educate people, and to even send a container into these camps, which is something that we have done, and we have done absolutely well. It was myself, as well as some North African teams and Libyan teams, that were working together to facilitate that particular project.
So through the videos you've been seeing is how you got to know about the women and their situation in Lebanon.
They got to know about me because I made a video talking about the kafala system, and that went viral. And then suddenly I was receiving messages from Fatu and Mami, and they were telling me, we're stuck here. Actually, the first message I received was, we are crying here in Lebanon when we watch your video, because it feels like you are here with us, you know what we're going through. And I said, I've never been to Lebanon. It's not on my list of places to visit, but I'm glad that the truth that I'm saying in my video reached you. How can I help? So I opened that door. I said, how can I help? They said, we don't have no food. Our house is falling down after the explosion. We have no place to stay. and we're scared. We don't have our papers. So me being me, I don't really think things through. All I think is I need to help. So I sent them 1,000 something dollars, and then I sent another $1,000 so they can pay the rent, buy some food, and just be able to have safety. Now, then I started thinking, how can we get them home? And that's when I got embroiled in this entire debacle.
Wow.
Mm.
Okay. So what was it like working with the Lebanese authorities and the Gambian government in trying to get these women back home?
I have to say, it was a slow start with the Gambian government, a very slow start, and not a lot of clear answers. Things have changed over the last 48 hours when they've seen the support that the Gambian people, both inside Gambia and outside, are giving me, both white people, brown people, Lebanese people. We're all banding together to say that this needs to be done for Gambia's sake. I think the tune has changed, and there's a lot of people behind the scenes that I do not wish to mention who are facilitating, who know my work, who know the maturity, the humility, and the dedication that goes into any job that I do, who are helping amplify our voices. So the Lebanese governments, I can't tell you anything because they haven't really moved left or right. But we have Lebanese lawyers and Lebanese organizations that we're working with as well. So I have hired a lawyer who I'm paying by the hour to manage the girls, to manage the booking of the tickets, the payment of the tickets, the receipts, everything, because I advocate finding people on each country I've worked in that you can work together with. We're not being saviors here. We are trying to help. And to help, you need somebody who understands the country, the bureaucracy, the law. I may be a lawyer, but I do not know Lebanese law. So hence I pay somebody who knows the law and who's on my side, on the NGO side, to facilitate. That's how I always work. Needless to say, the last 24 hours, the outcry has switched how the government has been handling me and dealing with me. We're now on a basis where we know we're fighting the same fight, we're on the same side, and we're ready to move forward. I'm not a politician. I don't even have a voter's card. I'm only worried about the women. They've been there too long. So if I can do that in 2 weeks and help, I think every Gambian around the world should be able to know that if they see somebody suffering, they can help.
Well, your work and your collaboration with the government has been evident. You've been showing details of that on your Facebook page, which I have followed for the past couple of weeks. And just to remind our viewers that this program was initially also going to have Mr. Sekou Cisse, the communications officer for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, but he canceled on us at the last minute. But when iAfrica contacted him yesterday, he explained what they were doing in trying to get the women back home, but it was ambiguous. It was not very clear, so it was hard to tell where exactly the footing was. But I'm glad that today, when I woke up this morning, there was a better news, and they were ready to collaborate with Lovett and bringing our women back home to the Gambia. So I don't know if you would want to go in details, but what collaborations have you made with the government so far? Is there like a time on when exactly the women are expected back
Yes. I don't want to go too deep in my collaboration with the government because I feel like the onus is on them to make public whatever they wish to do. So I'm not trespassing on the government's toes anymore now that I have gotten what I was asking for. So I believe the best person to do that is some representative, maybe not Mr. Cisse, but maybe somebody else who can come and tell you their work, because I don't like speaking for other people. I will just say that if things are being facilitated on their end, my NGO is facilitating the other end. So we are doing what the Gambians call japalante, which we should have done in the beginning, because I'm not here to politicize anything. If the government is one party or another, for me, it's irrelevant. When the time comes to tell the truth, I will not spare anybody a secrecy in that sense. Now that we're working together, all I can say is that the government has done its part to allow the women to land in Senegal. They have done their part to waive all of the fees for the women. They've liaised with the Lebanese government. So now when the women travel, they're not going to be arrested and put in jail for 30 days for running away from abusive environments. So that I can tell you that is something I appreciate. We have reserved the tickets. The airline felt so much for us that they allowed us another 24 hours. So today we have received the papers for 26 girls, and tomorrow we're receiving 10 more papers in the morning, and then they're going straight to the airline to pick up every single ticket and putting it inside of their paperwork. Once they have that, everybody's packing right now because next week they're coming home. They're coming home on the 4th. They're leaving Lebanon. They're arriving in Senegal on the 5th. A bus will be picking them up from Dakar airport, taking them to the border of Gambia. From Gambia, Fatou Jain, who is part of our group in Gambia, she's leading that group in Gambia, is having another bus waiting for them on the Gambian shores. And we will be transporting them to a hotel so they can rest and eat and quarantine for 14 days before they can run and see their family. Upon arrival, my NGO is also donating to every 38 one of the women, $1 million divided amongst them. So those two with children are going to get double the amount because children are expensive. And then they can go home and possibly have 2 months of time where they can re-acclimatize themselves and be able to, during COVID, not have to hustle. And when I arrive in Gambia, I have promised them all to try and facilitate some kind of environment that will give them employment under my NGO. So pray for me and hope that we can move forward in that. And it's in my heart and my wishes. Only Allah knows how that will be facilitated, but I have hope. I make plans, then I find a solution.
That is amazing. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for taking this initiative to make sure that these women reunite with their families. We appreciate this coming from.
I just want to say, don't thank me. I haven't done anything that a regular human being wouldn't do. Let's thank the people who are our nameless heroes, our aunties and uncles that have been behind the scenes supporting us as the new generation. Just the same way we are going to support the next generation. So please don't thank me. I was far from alone in this. And so many voices reached out with my voice and amplified it. So let's not just put it on my shoulders like I take credit. I don't want credit. I wish I was anonymous in this because it's giving me gray hairs. 4 new gray hairs have come up. It's our aunties, our uncles, our brothers, our sisters, people who don't care about tribes, who have been using
can't help but show appreciation as well. Love it.
Thank you. Thank you so much, okay.
Yeah, I'm just wondering how the women, after going through what they have gone through in the kafala system and going through trying to be repatriated back to the Gambia, how they would integrate back into society. Is there like a psychosocial plan for them in where they can go through therapy? Because those were a lot of hardships that they went through. And I was just wondering if there's any psychosocial.
That is, we have Gambians in the diaspora who are psychosocial analysts and psychologists and therapists. Now, this I will probably reach out to the Gambian government because if I'm paying for the tickets, I would love it if they could provide us with contacts of therapists who are based in the Gambia. But that job is I'm putting that over on my partner in the Gambia, Fatou Jain. She already has a network of connections as well. So we need to amplify her voice and she will be facilitating that. So she is now under Action for Humanity to facilitate that psychosocial support that these women will need. But I think, first of all, they need to meet their family. So we will be speaking to their families before they reunite within those 2 weeks of quarantine to sensitize them so that they know that they have done nothing wrong, these women. They are victims, they are survivors, and they need the understanding, not the victim blaming that we are used to. We need, as a society, to support them because some of us will never know what they have gone through. So that job will start once we know that they're in quarantine. We sensitize the parents, and then when they pick them up, we start with that work headed by Fatou Jain.
Okay. And reading the government's press statement yesterday, they seem to have had done this before in 2014 and 2015, where they have repatriated some women from, I think it was Lebanon or another Arab country, I'm not too sure. So this should not be something new to them. And I believe that with that experience, they can also use that same experience to make this work easier for these women. So, love it. There has been questions about your interest in the whole situation. Is there anything in it for you?
Absolutely not, but it's cost me a hell of a lot. Pardon my French. What people don't understand is with my NGO, every award I have won, some of them are $1 million, some of them are smaller amounts like $500,000. Everything goes to my NGO, and my NGO has that money. So when people think that when I win an award and I get money, I use it to buy fabulous dresses, I don't. It goes to the NGO, and that is what has facilitated this work. So no, I get gray hairs, I get a lot of stress, I cry a lot, I have anxiety attacks, but I haven't gained anything financial from this, but I have gained a lot of personal satisfaction from doing this work. So if anybody can blame me for something, it's the fact that I do derive great satisfaction from helping people, whether they're white, brown, or black.
Thank you. I mean, it's been great news that the government is willing to work with you in bringing these women. So that is the light of the whole conversation. But to bring a much lighter mood to this conversation, tell us a little bit about your book, especially the Vogue and the one that's coming up.
Well, Black Vogue, the first book. Yeah, Black Vogue, the first book, was Europe's first makeup book for Black women. I created that book to celebrate Black women of all shades. As somebody who's gone from a background of skin bleaching to now loving my skin, I wanted to put that information out there to say there's no shame in being Black. There's no shame in being African. There's no shame in being Gambian, Fula, Bambara, Jola. Just a Black pride. And it was in honor of my grandmother, Ya Ajisafi Gay, who was a women's counselor for 30 years in the Gambian government under Jawara. So for me, it was a pride for young girls to be able to grow up and see Black women of all shades being very loving of themselves. Now, my second book is much more terrifying because it's a book about what it means to be Black in a white society. It's called A Stranger in White Spaces, which tells you that you can be an intelligent Black woman, you can be a compassionate Black woman, but racism doesn't really care about that, because racism is a system that will discriminate people, whether you're aware of it or you're not. So it just details my life in the West and giving people solutions on how to combat racism. White people face this racism. Black people survive this racism, but we shouldn't have to survive it, should we? We should be able to be human beings at the end of the day. So,
and any Black woman in the diaspora should be able to relate to that, me personally as well.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for all the work. Thank you for everything that you've been doing. The interview is rather short, but at least we've gotten the information that we needed, and it was just a pleasure to have you in our studios today.
Thank you. The honor was all mine. Thank you for the good job you're doing together with your team. I appreciate you, and I am always going to have your back, as we say in Sweden. I'll have your back and your sides.
We will have each other's back. One win for one Gambian woman is a win for all of us. Thank you so much, love it, and you have a beautiful day.
You too. Take care.
You too. Well, that was all we have for you today, viewers. Thank you so much for joining us in this short interview. We've gathered information from Lovett, and also showing that the government is now willing to work with Miss Jallow to be able to make sure our ladies who were stranded in Lebanon are safely reunited with their families back home in the Gambia. Thank you so much for joining us, and you have a wonderful day. Bye.
Are we done?
Gambia dañ passion xel bu baax a baax ndax corona bi mu ngi fii ba léegi.